just immediately banned out for the side of Impunity?
I think it is Infamous on A side. So Infamous is gonna ban away the Lance. They really don't want to play against it, it does make sense. I think the Impunity does love to play their own Lance. So the ban here could be Grace, or we might see even an Idris. We've seen Idris first picked quite a lot, and so that would make sense to ban away on B side.
Yep, I'm just assuming from the graphics that I was sent that but anyways. But the side of Infamous, or rather the side of Impunity, really taking the time to go through, the second draft, second ban, rather, coming into this game itself. Grace would be the most likely ban. If there you have it, we have the Grace being banned out by the side of Impunity. However, for the side of Infamous, a rather peculiar pickup. We do see a Baptiste insta-lock. What do you think, Minimiter?
That's certainly not what anyone was expecting. First pick Baptiste, and now Catherine's been picked up so that it doesn't have to be banned away, because obviously you don't want to give away Baptiste to Catherine, even though it's not as common to play those two heroes anymore. They're still extremely strong together. They work fantastically. And so by picking Catherine first, they don't have to worry about trying to ban it away. And now they're pretty much free to do whatever they want. They could maybe get rid of the Glaive, maybe get rid of the Idris they don't want to face, but they're going to get rid of the Taka they don't want to face, which is fair enough. We've seen a lot of Black Feather Taka comps, and they've been working so well. Taka's such an annoying hero to dive in on anyone, and there's not much you can do to stop him. So Taka ban does make sense, and now I really would expect Glaive to be banned. Otherwise, it's just letting through. Yeah, that's a smart ban.
Yep, Glaive would be the standard ban altogether because, with a lot of CCs actually banned out throughout the board, we have the two main CCs coming out, or rather we have the two main heroes that got a ton of CC. We have Silence coming out from Catherine. However, we do see the Castro being picked up by the side of Impunity. Impunity, they are known to run this Castro, and of course followed up by a Scarf, if not then a Celeste, just for the siege potential they have in the early game. And we just see that, Impunity, they are very orchestrated in terms of their movements, and very, very well devised and, calculated all in all in terms of their macro plays and strategy. However, Infamous, we cannot doubt their plays as well. They have very good objective, control and, jungle control in all together. We are going to see an Idris being picked up by the side of Infamous. This is one iffy pick going up against a Castro, unless of course Infamous will go for that CP Idris. Once he gets a Frostburn, he can try to outpoke that of Castro. That will most probably be in that of lane.
Yeah, I think that most likely will be a CP Idris with a Roam Baptiste. We're trying to figure out why they first picked Baptiste. What kind of comp do they want to play to make that a priority pick for them? And it is interesting that they didn't have two heroes specific in mind to work with Baptiste. It's more that they've just gone, maybe Baptiste works really well against most of the heroes they like to play. Most of the dive heroes he works really well against. He's not too great against poke, which is why they may have put him into captain against this Kestrel. And they are going to bring Captain Baptiste with possibly a weapon Idris to dive in onto the Kestrel, but we also could see double CP. It would be kind of risky against Catherine because she counters Idris' Chakram as long as she can tank it successfully. So I think it will probably be weapon Idris just dive into the Kestrel, and that makes even more sense against Celeste, unless they want to go for a double poke comp.
Yeah, but there is one thing to note as well. With that Baptiste being picked up going up against two pokes and two damages, right? The mages in this game, they just put out so much damage in such a short time. Baptiste might have a really, really tough time just going up against this particular comp, because honestly, Baptiste just lack the tankiness that the other captains have got, like that of Lance, that of Grace, even Catherine, the Storm Guard, and Arden has got more tank, more initial starting health and ending health as compared to Baptiste. So honestly, it is just down to how they are going to execute the team comp. With that of Scar being picked up by the side of Infamous, they definitely have got an earlier game as compared to Celeste pre-level 8, but it's just down to execution. And Impunity, they are known to just move in threes and put on a lot of pressure in lane, and I do not see how Baptiste will be beneficial whatsoever to the side of Infamous.
Yeah, I think the Baptiste pick was to try and counter any dive that would be picked up, but in the end, it just turns out to be kind of a useless captain. He's going to have a fear to try and fear Kestrel if Kestrel tries to dive in. But the Ordained, he's never going to get in range to use. And if he does get in range to Ordain someone, he's going to die because he's going to get Glimmer Shot to the face, Healer Genesis to the face. And so Batiste is really, really squishy and is countered by Celeste and Kestrel in 2 away. So they're really going for let the carries just carry the game. Let Idris farm up, let Scarf farm up to late game, and hope that in the late game they haven't got any healing. Maybe that will be the difference, and Batiste will just be able to provide fountains and crucibles. And if we get slightly caught out, then he can help with fears if they dive in. But I think all that has to happen is you just have to poke with Celeste and Kestrel, and then they're going to win this game.
Yeah, and on top of that as well, Infamous's draft, what happens with their draft is that if they do not run the double CP comp, which means Idris has to dive into the backlines, and Batiste will have a relatively hard time to just support Idris as a whole. Granted, you can land those Ordains on the Celeste or Castro when Idris dives in. That way you can restrict the movement as a whole. But even then, I see it being very difficult because of the amount of early game pressure that Impunity is sure to put onto Infamous. But of course, I do not doubt the playmaking that Batiste can provide, especially if you can fear or ordain interfere into a wall. That way you make the entirety of Impunity have got nothing on you for, say, 3 seconds, or no, 1.5 seconds, the duration of the fear at least.
Yeah, definitely would be a good idea. But as you said, the problem with Batiste with a weapon Idris is that he can't stay with him. Someone like Grace is great with Idris because she has massive range on her A ability, and someone like Arden can keep up with Vanguards, whereas Batiste has nothing. Idris will jump in and just be caught out because he'll be going too deep. They'll back off. Batiste won't be able to catch up. And it looks like we still don't know if Spaghetti's gone for the Book of Eulogy start, so it could be going either way. And yeah, DefQ obviously going to be going on this lane weapon Kestrel. We might have been seeing Kestrel being going to the jungle. I've seen a little bit of lane weapon Kestrel, but Impunity are starting with an aggressive early game rotation again. Impunity straight to the front heel, and it works, but it's just countered by what SNK had to do was rotate straight to their backs and take them away. Impunity going to be slightly ahead.
Yeah, but SNK do not have that, the weapon blade, early weapon blade, and the early crystal bit just to help them or just go into the bags of Impunity. However, Infamous, all 3 members in lane trying to push this lane out really, really quickly just to try to, force DefQ back up into lane, which they are successful at. But, as a weapon Castro, your early game clear is just relatively good as well. Granted, the turret will take a little damage from the minions, but all in all, it will be well and dandy for Castro or for DefQ on this Castro, and of course the entire team of Impunity. I must say, Impunity's team comp, a lot of CCs and a lot of hard CCs in fact. As for the side of Infamous, they lack CC, so it's just down to how much pressure they can apply in lane before Celeste hits the level 8. Because Scarf does well against Celeste before Celeste hits level 8 because of the range that Spitfire has. Whereas once Celeste hits the level 8, it will be a difficult fight. The Core Collapse comes in, and Solar Storm to your face as well will be something that Spaghetti and probably SNK and Chingy has to think about when going to any team fights. Because granted, the side of Infamous, they have got a decent frontliner in terms of Batiste, and they got a soft CC in terms of the Ordain, but all in all, they just do not have the poke that the side of Impunity actually has.
Yeah, and Infamous actually freezing the wave quite successfully, forcing DefQ to be in a poor position if he wants to farm the wave. And the early game rotation with Infamous was actually good. They got their backs together. Then by pushing the wave as 3, it made DefQ not able to get ahead in gold. They just became even. So even though Impunity took away the front camp, the mid healing camp, the Infamous didn't get behind in gold because DefQ was unable to share the backs. And yeah, it's not going to be too aggressive for Impunity because they have the Celeste. Speaking of Celeste, she's going to get Ordained and going to walk into the wall. There could be a lot of damage going down. She's going to use the boots and healing flask, and looks like we'll be able to get away. Yeah, Impunity, as I said, really going to be really defensive while it's all on Infamous with this weapon Idris now to try and dive in onto the Kestrel as early as possible.
Yep, I'll not say weapon Idris is just terrible, but going up again to see a weapon Castro that can just immediately active camo, and then if you were to chase, just stun you out in it, it just proves to be very invaluable as a pickup. I would rather if Infamous just go for double CP, that way you can try to outpoke, and I say try with great emphasis, that of Impunity, or the poke coming up from Impunity at least. And it's kind of sucky for Infamous at this point in time, because they are not trying to push their early game advantage up against the Celeste whatsoever, and Quantum at this point in time only has got 2 stacks, and you know, Impunity, rather Infamous, definitely have got an earlier game team comp. They can definitely try to push very, very hard, but they are not doing so.
Yeah, they're definitely just letting Impunity farm up, and maybe they're hoping that Shingy late game will be the hero that he needs to be on this Scarf. I think it is risky. Definitely, Weapon Idris does well against Kestrel and reasonably well against Celeste once he gets later on in the game. But they don't want Celeste to hit level 8 as freely as she currently is. They really want Celeste to be struggling to farm up, struggling to get those levels. And yeah, it just seems like both teams are happy to wait as long as possible. And DefQ are actually farming up a little bit better than Spaghetti, so there was a slight 200 gold lead to in favour of Impunity.
Yep, I mean the 200 gold lead wouldn't be, you know, anything at all. It would not amount to say an item or anything, in fact, because all in all, Impunity, they are playing very unlike themselves. However, Infamous will be going in for the turret siege.
No, they definitely are. That turret's down to half health. There's going to be a stun onto SNK. Double stun. Get destroyed immediately by Quadrivar's Merciless Pursuit into the core collapse from Blue City. And that is the problem that we're having with this Lone Batista. He has no defense, no tankiness inherently in his kit. He's all about damage, all about peeling for the rest of his team. And so in doing that, that means that if you catch SNK out himself, he's really in a poor position. Impunity trying to hide for anyone being overextending, but no one will. All members of Infamous just backing off, and this front healing camp will most likely go over to Impunity if they wait, but they know that Batista's spawned again, so they're just going to back off to their own jungle.
Yep, and one more thing as well is that we saw the amount of CC chains that, you know, Impunity can put out, and on top of that, the Batiste is only good if you can, you know, if you are up against a triple dive comp or double dive comp. That way, a Batiste is just very, very good, because like you say, you have got Fearsome Shade to just chase anybody away if they just try to dive on your teammates. However, with this team comp, you are basically just a sitting duck all in all.
Yeah, speaking of sitting duck, there is SNK going to force his fountain on himself very early in the team fight. On Quadrivar, but that's not the target. And now Infamous looking to try and seize this turret once again. Not sure if Spaghetti and Shingy are going to be able to do that. They are just going to poke the turret, and they will. Scarf with the Spitfire actually able to poke the turret down to dead. Now DefQ is going to try and get some damage. Quadrivar with the stun, Spaghetti, 2 glimmer shots to the face, but Blue City is stunned up by the Ordained. The fountain from Quadrivar doing so much work, but Spaghetti with the link into the backline due to his diversion paths being unlocked. Shingy going to try and get some damage onto DefQ, and the active cover shot is there, but Shingy's not quite going to walk into it. One shot, one kill is available. Might be thrown out just for a bit of a poke, but not really going to be securing any kills. Good fight in the end for Infamous.
Yep, definitely a good fight, and I guess that is where Batiste shine. If you're caught out of position, you do not have your early reflex block, what happens is that Ordain is there, you want to try to get as far away as Infamous as possible, and thus risking you walking into the walls or the perimeters of that Ordain. That way Infamous can just immediately capitalize on your mistake, and of course your off positioning, and just take you down. And with that as well, definitely a very good fight going over for Infamous, and definitely with that early game push, this is what I'm talking about all in all. Chingy really needs to capitalize the advantage that he has against Celeste before Celeste hits the level 8, because Chingy has got damage over time, whereas Celeste is immediate burst, one shot, one kill, coming out a little wide.
Yep, not quite going to connect to anyone. Quadrivar looking for another stack of his Captain of the Guard. But Infamous are backing off, not allowing him to pick any of that up. Idris is actually going for Poison Shiv, second item. What do you think about that, Luxurious? Do you like it, or do you think there's no need because there's no healing except from Eve of Harvest on Blue City?
Well, I mean, all in all, I personally do not quite like it. I prefer Spaghetti. Or maybe it's not just to counter healing, but it's just that little sustain that Spaghetti maybe want to have. And of course, you know, it reduces the fountain by, you know, a third as well. So I guess it is valuable for Infamous, all in all. But I personally think it is just down to the sustain that it provides. But I would prefer it if Spaghetti probably just went for, you know, the Tornado Trigger, if not then Breaking Point, although it's very unlikely to be, you know, found on Idris whatsoever. However, this build has got its own perk, like said, is the extra healing that you receive, and the Mortal Wound will prove to pay you off favors in that of the late game.
Yeah, that does make sense. The Mortal Wound will be really effective against the Fountain, and that could make the difference in the end in these team fights. Defq obviously going for the very little defense, so Spaghetti doesn't need that much weapon power to completely destroy them in a team fight. Blixie looking to try and poke. He is now level 8. This is a really good power spike for Celeste, who's only got the Frostburn, but so has Scarf. But yeah, this level 8 really means that SNK has to get even closer to the backline if he wants to get any form of Ordained or any form of CC onto them, any kind of effectiveness. And Court of War's only on 7 stacks, 9 minutes in. Looks like Impunity looking for a fight. There's the Blast Tremor, going to be thrown down, but there's no follow-up at all for Impunity. One shot going wide, and that was a wasted Blast Tremor. 90 seconds on that cooldown. This could be the time for Infamous to fight. This could be Impelled landing on Spaghetti, but he's going to just blink away. No real need to get out of position for that. Court of War taking a little bit of poke. And Impunity, despite having no blast tremor, still wants to go in. There's SNK, bootsing in with the Ordain, going to be blocked by Blixie. Spitfire going through, and the Fearsome Shade does actually connect onto Blixie in the end. Defq going to be on the back line. There's the Solar Storm from Celeste, not doing too much. Spaghetti is very low. He's going to go towards the enemy team. That was a risky play, and he goes low but does not fall. Defq has got a little bit of energy left. He's going to go on Shingy. Lots of damage as a scout up in that bush, but it doesn't matter. Defq doing all the work. He is Ordained, but he's still going to be able to wait for that to expire. And the Heliogenesis are coming down. They're looking for Spaghetti, and he is still just waiting. Quite healthy now, and both teams are going to back off. But 1 kill for Impunity.
Yep, and that is generally what I'm saying, and what we saw as well. As you know, SNK had to dive in really, really deep for that one Ordain, in which.
Speaking of Ordained, there's going to be an Ordained onto Court of War, and the one-shot dodged by Spaghetti using his Shimmer Strike, but he will fall to the Celeste. And now SNK is going to try and get Defq. That's a nice Spitfire from Shingy and Goop to try and stop any engagement Impunity, but they're still going to get the kill onto Batiste and Idris. So another good trade for Impunity. They end up with 3 kills traded for only their captain.
Yep, and that is what I'm talking about at least. You know, SNK has to go out of his position to drop that Ordain, and now that Blue City already built his Reflex block, it would be fruitless, right? It would not be, you know, your Ordain wouldn't be in fruition at all, because they can't just run away, block out that perimeter stun that Ordain provides, and one of the CCs that Ordain has. But all in all, I guess it will work out, especially if you Ordain forcing the Reflex block to come out from Blue City, have Spaghetti dive into the backlines, immediately removing Blue City, but then you have to worry about the damage that's coming out from Defq. Defq at this point in time sitting at 3 kills, 0 death, and a whole lot of weapon power.
Yeah, certainly Defq with that Soul Blade, double Tyrants, probably going to work towards triple Tyrants later on in the game once he sells his heat. 1 shot, 1 kill doesn't look connected, but the Supernova does onto SNK. Court of War looking for a stun, not going to find anyone, and Defq is walking through a Goop. That's not where you want to be, Defq. Spaghetti, that was really quite poor positioning from Defq. He tried to walk through the Goop, but took far too much damage when it ignited, and this should be an easy goldmine for Infamous. They capitalized on that mistake perfectly. Yep,
but there is a possible still that Blue City can throw out that Solar Storm and just clip that gold mine, and you know the steel would come out, as we do see Blue City in preparation for that still.
Yeah, he's going to throw it out, but a bit too late. Catherine was not quite providing vision, so there was really no chance of stealing the gold mine just blind. You really need to know when it's going to get low enough, because if they see the Celeste ulting, generally your team can just stop attacking goldmine, wait for the Solar Storm to hit, then finish it with your burst. And this time Infamous could just kill it before the Celeste ult came through. SNK still has not got the Echo, and Court of War looks like he's going towards Clockwork instead of going Echo on Catherine. What do you think about that decision?
Well, with the Clockwork, I mean, because even if you do go for an Echo, I think it would be so much more better, but it's easily countered by a Now Wave Gauntlet if timed right, whereas a Clockwork, it just makes your abilities come up so very often, just so you can land more Merciless Pursuit, probably 2 or 3 Merciless Pursuit in a single fight, and on top of that as well, it is just a Storm Guard coming out more often just to counter Chingy or Spaghetti on their respective heroes. That way, I guess it has got its pros and cons to do without that Echo, but all in all, I think Echo is so much better as an item pickup overall.
Okay, well, we're going to see what Cordovar is going to decide to go for. He's definitely not going for House Run Chargers, picking up the Journey Boots instead. Another interesting decision, maybe just try and just dodge these Spitfires. And now Infamous going for a turret siege. Spaghetti getting those basics down. Fission Shade is blocked, but the turret will fall, and so will the core collapse will land on Spaghetti, taking a lot of poke. Solar Storm comes through, dodged by Spaghetti for the most part, and he's going to walk into an active camera trap, but there's going to be a lovely block onto the blast tremor, and he actually walks out of the active camera trap just in time. Another core collapse to stand on SNK. Luxley going very low, who will be hit by the Ordained, but it will not quite kill him. Now Spaghetti is just baiting. Will he be able to fall? Yes, he will. One basic from Death Cube is enough. Now Shingy is 1 versus 3, not going to go too aggressive, and that is a nice 2 kills for Impunity.
Yep, that is definitely a very good trade-off for Impunity. However, losing 2 turrets 14 minutes in, I don't think Quarter will be any happy with that, and thus Impunity will be going in for the Crystal Sentry, or try to get the Crystal Sentry, and possibly the 2nd tier turret of Infamous as well. So Impunity definitely going to go to take down the Crystal Sentry, and DevQ constantly just left untouched time and time again, able to put out so much Glimmer Shot damage, and of course the basic attacks as well. And we are not seeing DevQ going for that tornado trigger that we often see on Castro, but the Bone Sword, so very, very reminiscent of the build coming out in 2.7. However, we do not see a Clockwork. We just saw the energy battery there, and in fact, Quartervore will just build into the Now with Gauntlet to try to counter the Echo that's coming out from SNK.
Yeah, as you said, Echo is pretty hard countered by No Wave Gauntlet, and SNK is in the position where he cannot build a second reflex block, because if he does, he then has 0 defense on this weapon pack Estral. That's just something you cannot do, especially on someone like Batiste, who has to be in the front line pretty much. So he has to have a metal jacket or at least some defense on Kestrel, otherwise he's going to get bursted down immediately. So that means the No Wave is either going to connect or is going to be forced to use the Crucible. Then obviously that's a free blast tremor from Catherine, which Idris isn't going to block because he wants to block the core collapse. That could be a really good play from Impunity, but they have to fight when the No Wave comes through. The No Wave comes through, and SNK just boots his away, uses War Treads before No Wave hits, and DevQ could be in a bit of trouble. The stun from Catherine doesn't become DevQ, taking a lot of damage from Spaghetti. He's going to block the Blast Tremor with his ultimate. DevQ's going to fall. Quartervar's doing the next target. The Item Silence is doing nothing on Batiste. He did not manage to use Echo on his ultimate, actually. I think he might have echoed the Ordained instead. So now Spaghetti going to try and take this healing tree to get himself back up, and he does secure it. Quartervar not going to go too aggressive, and Blue's just going to port home. This is a free Kraken for Infamous, but no, they're actually going to stop. They've noticed it. There was no vision, but they just know that Infamous is starting up this Kraken. Blue's going to try and poke down Spaghetti with the Helio. Infamous are not bothered about Bluesy. Now they are. There's the Ordained. That's going to be Bluesy blocking to try and run away. Spaghetti needs to jump in. He has not got any abilities up to do so. He's going to shatter him for a bit of damage, and the Item Silence comes through. One shot onto SNK. That was not the intended target, but it works, and Impunity stop the Kraken being taken, and possibly Spaghetti. He will not port home. He was stopped, and now Impunity are in a great position, but Bluesy did fall in the end to Shingy, I believe, and now that was really good. Well played by Cordovar and Bluesy.
Yep. We can tell that they are rather balanced in terms of mechanics, and this is quite a showing for Infamous and of course Impunity as well. Very well played from Blue City to just drop stars all over and just try his best, or rather Quartervore to try his bestest or Impunity's bestest to stop the Kraken being taken. And of course we cannot deny DevQ's one-shot, one-kill is the saving grace of Impunity for a future Kraken push coming out from Infamous. However, the next fight will definitely be happening around the Kraken. And that is one thing, when I was talking about earlier on, is that Infamous really wants to dive in and SNK cannot quite support it. And just looking at KDA alone, it kind of just proves my point. All in all, whenever SNK goes in for a very, very dangerous maneuver of dropping that Ordain onto that of the, you know, Blue City or Death Queue. Usually it will be Blue City that gets it. Then immediately Infamous, the entirety of Infamous will jump on that target. Problem with that is, oh, one shot, one kill coming out, taking SNK down to half health. Impunity will just go for the second turret at this point in time. But
Impunity doing a nice rotation. It looks like Infamous do want to fight. No, they don't want to fight this. Spaghetti's just waiting. He's not actually going to go in, and the Helio's not going to connect onto him. But yeah, Infamous just happy to let that tier 2 turret fall.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I mean we saw this coming up from Impunity just yesterday as well. If they are unable to win a team fight, but Kosovo coming in with a merciless pursuit, but will just back off afterwards. And we saw this from Impunity yesterday as well. They just immediately go in for the turret if they just do not like to waste time whatsoever.
He's going to get onto Shingy. That's one glimmer shot doing a lot of damage. One shot, one kill is available. Does not want to risk it though. Shingy's probably going to be able to dodge that. And now Impunity happy. They've got the kill. They're going to go for Kraken. Lovely Fear was not quite blocked in time. Spaghetti's going to want to dive in. A second finishing shade does come through. Not quite going to connect onto any of the carries. But Item Silence lands onto Idris. That's not the intended target. Shingy's going to go down. Idris going to get the double with the Shimmer Strike. And SNK going to start up this Kraken. I think Cote d'Ivoire will be able to survive. Yeah, he's got his Storm Guard. There's no way Idris is going to get that kill, especially when he misses Shakrams. But now Spaghetti's going to start up this Kraken. And besides a miraculous steal, I think Infamous should be able to get this, or at least just win the fight and just kill him. Yeah, they're going to be able to kill Cote d'Ivoire. He went for the Kraken a bit too early. I mean, Celeste is up in 13 seconds, so Infamous needs to be quick. They know there's a double steal coming out from members of Impunity. It's likely that Celeste will ult it to give Kestrel vision, and then the one shot's going to come out.
Yep, that is possible as well. And Celeste definitely has got very good potential, and a Solar Storm coming out.
That's missed. That's missed. That's far too high. That's too high. One shot, one kill as well. Oh, they didn't time it. They should have used the Solar Storm to give Kestrel vision on the Kraken and then one shot. But they tried to do it at the same time. Nice body block from SNK there.
Yeah, very, very nice body block indeed. So with that ace buff they get from Kraken, they are in a very comfortable position to just push down the lane of Impunity. We saw this scenario before between Infamous and Impunity. As long as Infamous just stick on target and just continue playing like how they are, they will definitely be able to close this game out immediately. However, if they do allow the similar mistakes to happen, which means SNK just being caught out in very unfavorable position, then definitely Impunity would have the upper hand, because SNK, like mentioned earlier on, oh, incredible fear coming up from SNK.
Shake down. Gonna only count Cote d'Ivoire though, nothing onto the carries. Now what are Infamous going to do? They're going to get one time and back off, or they're going to try and fight. Shingy looking to do the poke with the Spitfire, and it looks like the Kraken's going very low. So if Infamous do want to fight, they've got to pull the trigger very soon, and that's going to be a stun onto SNK. And Spaghetti's looking to just Chakram the turret. He actually misses, and yeah, Infamous happy with one turret. Apparently, they're just going to back off and not get anything else apart from a Crystal Sentry.
But I guess if you do crack,
no, they're not even going to get that. Wow.
Oh wow. I mean, but I guess if they do get that, then you know, War Threats can be used, or rather Boots can be used to go into that of Infamous and immediately take them out, because they'll probably have burned their abilities on their Crystal Sentry. But Impunity will be going in for that standard maneuver again.
It will. The Blast Hammer misses. Blast Hammer going completely wide. Echo was not used. So and Item Silence was used. This is a fantastic time for Infamous to fight. There was not War Treads on SNK. You can almost afford them another 150 gold when you go to the shop. But yeah, the Blast Tremor goes down. So does the Null Wave. That's not great timing for Impunity, and Catherine knows it. She wants to port home. All three members going to port in that bush. So now Infamous aren't going to get anything from it. They managed to bait out the engage from Catherine, but didn't then follow up. And actually, SNK deciding Metal Jacket is more worth his time. Now he's going to pick up some flares. We need some vision, and if he flares on top of Kestrel, this should be quite an easy fight for Spaghetti. But they just haven't been diving in. I think SNK needs to prioritize War Treads, and they will probably not face check that bush. Cote d'Ivoire should probably flare it. I'm very surprised. Why do you think SNK hasn't built War Treads yet?
I mean, honestly, they don't really want to rush in altogether. Idris can rush
Speaking
in.
of rushing in all together, there's going to be a block onto the Blast Hammer. Idris going to go Threesome Shade. Does land on 2 members, all 3 members. Threesome Shade. That's another Threesome Shade from Teeth. So much work, but Spaghetti is going to fall, and that is another Blast Hammer coming down from Catherine. She's going to go in onto Shingy. So is Defq. Shingy's going to fall so low immediately. Now Bluxty is the lowest member of Impunity, but SNK is the only member of Infamous. One shot, bit wide. No chance really of hitting someone the one shot when they use their boots, and there's no chance of SNK surviving this. Bluxty's on one side, Defq's on the other. Impunity take the ace, and will they take the game? No, they're going for a turret and a Kraken instead. So Impunity want one more team fight.
There was an orgy of damage that rained down upon that of Infamous, although he pulled off 2 Threesome Shade, but it just wasn't enough whatsoever. The amount of damage that's coming up from Defq and Blue City was just immense. Granted, Spaghetti dove in to just put out the damage that's needed onto Blue City and Defq. But there is just not much of follow-up whatsoever coming out from SNK and Chingy, because SNK, like said, not the tankiest of hero, but Quartervo can just dive in back into the backlines, land those merciless pursuit just to stun out Spaghetti. If not, then Chingy just cannot follow up whatsoever with any sort of damage, because like said and like mentioned, the thing that's separating the 2 mages, Celeste and Scarf, is that Celeste's abilities stay on the fold for quite some time before igniting or just going away. Ignition, of course, by the terms of Supernova.
Yeah, there's Goops being ignited by Goops by Xingyi, which is a very interesting way to play Scarf with a lot of cooldown. Quartervoir going to be the one, actually all 3-man taking the Fearsome Shade, but there's no engage from Infamous. Echo was used by SNK. Fearsome Shade is available again. There's Dragon's Breath coming on very early. They're trying to go for the fight. Defq's going to get jumped on by Spaghetti. Lovely Solar Storm from Celeste, but Defq is going to be the one to fall. The second Blast Hammer doesn't do that much work, and now Quartervoir is going to be focused by Spaghetti, and Impunity is just going for the win. Bluxty going for the back door while Idris is going on his Catherine, and now Bluxty is like, oh dear, I'm in trouble. Looks like I'm going to have to try and kill him. That's not going to work, and Infamous do not lose the game. They still have 1 turret left. This looks like it's going to be a 30-minute game, possibly, Luxuria.
Yeah, it might be a 30-minute game. Both of these teams just looking very strong and even at this point in time. Whenever they trade out, it's either one side win and the other just come back afterwards, almost immediately. If not, then it is just a rather even trade out without any objectives being exchanged or traded out. All in all, however, a lot of infusions are going across the board, and Infamous will finally take the Crystal Sentry that we were hoping they are going to take for a while now.
Yeah, Shingy still needs quite a bit of gold. Still needs another 600 gold until Shingy can afford to buy a Broken Myth. This is really not a good time for Infamous to fight. I know that Bluxty hasn't got one. Bluxty's still working towards that Aegis, still needs another 100 gold to pick that up. But Shingy really needs to get Broken Myth in these fights, because Bluxty's got double defense almost. She's actually gone for the Infusion and Journey Boots instead. And Infamous are going for the sneaky play. They cannot backdoor. Spaghetti's the only one who could even attempt the wall jump, and it's quite a hard one to do. But Impunity knows something's up. I'm pretty sure they're expecting Infamous in the Party Brush, just next door, and now Defq is like, no, I'm not going past this line. This is my base. I am happy here, and both teams know. Impunity just know what is up. They are not going to go anywhere near. And how long can Infamous wait in that exact position? I reckon a couple more minutes.
Yeah, well, probably.
They've given up. They've had enough. They've caved. They're going to port home because Shingy still can't afford her a Broken Myth. I'm not quite sure why they ported home. They repop the Infusion on Idris, and yeah, this is looking like both teams are just going to be too scared to go anywhere near the enemy. And actually, Quarterbar was waiting for Contraption, which is why he didn't want to go aggressive. And yeah, Shingy nearly there, so close. Another 250 gold is what you need for Broken Myth. So Shingy's like, nah, let me just give me a sec. Maybe it's 2050 with their Piercing Shard. She's just waiting. And yeah, they need to be careful because Impunity are looking for the back door, or just the front door, just walk straight through the base.
And one more thing as well, I think the side of Infamous was actually timing the Crystal Sentry respawn, and that is why they ported back. If that is the case, then very well played coming out from Infamous. Do not want to fight around that Sentry at least. But now Impunity is forced to back off because all three members is just defending that base, and they might just go for a sneaky Kraken pickup at this point in time. I mean,
Infamous want to fight. Because Shingy's picked up Broken Myth now, needed 2,250, got it, now needs a bit lane gold to re-infuse, and this is why I said the game might go very long, because both the carries, Celeste and Scarf, just want to wait. Shingy is going to take a lot of damage, the infusion's still active, and Impunity are going to take that as their reason to engage, but not really. Nope, they're just going to go walk up to lane and say hello and then back off. Shingy going to go down to jungle, repop herself with infusion, and again, both teams just waiting for the other to make a mistake or make the first move. Whoever starts up Kraken is probably going to lose the fight because then they get engaged on, they've already low for taking Kraken. And now Impunity once again just pushing the wave, and there's going to be once again port from Infamous. And then Impunity are going to go to Kraken.
Yep, once again, very back and forth this tug of war here that, you know, Impunity and Infamous is just in and strangled in, and there is really nothing that, you know, either side can do, because they know either way, if they lose any of the team fight that's gonna be coming up next, the other team will win. But DevQ,
It's going to be they engage. Shingy walks into an actual cover trap where there's no vision. One shot does not connect, and Shingy is very low. The fountain was used by SNK before he died, and Impunity are like, we know where you are, Shingy, we're going to come and find you, we're going to hunt you down. And now if I was it, I'd just go for the back door. You're not going to win this fight. Now he's enough, he's going for the 1v3 place. Here comes Spaghetti walking down the alley, and he's going to get stunned by the collapse. No, he's going to dodge it, but he's not got enough. Double kill. That is an ace for Impunity. One turret left, and that'll be the game.
And that is just the mistakes coming out from the side of Infamous. I will not say it's a mistake, but it was just that, you know, the active camo trap that caught the Chingy and, no, not Chingy, at least the SNK out then, and SNK was just so oblivious to it because there was just no vision whatsoever. But of course, it is very well played, and definitely Impunity winning the tug of war after 30 minutes.
Yeah, extremely well played by both sides. But in the end, Impunity had the better rotation. They had the map control. They forced Infamous to port home, so they were in a slightly poor position to try and fight. And then Impunity could just rotate down through the lane, get the trap set up, and Shingy got bursted down to 1 HP. The fountain came through for SNK to try and save him, but it was nowhere near enough.